Hello guys, about a month, 2 months ago I was out at the gun range with some of my firearms and a couple buddies when I came across a couple of guys up in the clubhouse in a heated argument over which firearms would be the best for an apocalyptic type situation. I didn't give it much thought then, went through, shot the course like normal. When I went to leave they were still in this argument. Now on the drive home, I kind of gave it some consideration. I thought, what weapons would I think were best? Some of them they were picking were extremely expensive or were military grade weapons, and I didn't like that. So I thought, I'm going to do a little bit of research and see what I can find. And of course, there are thousands, if not tens of thousands, of lists online of firearms that are supposedly the best for an apocalyptic type situation. So I started thinking, these guns probably aren't guns that I would pick. So I decided here today I'd put together a list of the top firearms that I would want to have in an apocalyptic type situation. Now, of course, I'm going to be selecting firearms that are easily obtainable by most U.S. citizens and are firearms that are not extremely out of the price bubble of affordability. So again, weapons that are not military grade that 99.9% of U.S. citizens can't obtain, and firearms that are affordable yet still meet our needs. Of course, the environment that I'm talking about is one which would be either a pandemic or some kind of apocalyptic or post-apocalyptic environment. I'm not talking about firearms to go out and kill thousands of zombies or something like that, as so many lists obtain, but rather, firearms that are going to help the average individual or average group survive. Now, of course, I find it important to have multiple firearms in this list and not just one, two, or three, because I figured that I would be surviving with a group and I would want each member of my group with a firearm. So I'd like to go ahead now and start that list. Alright guys, the first two guns that I have for you are not actually firearms. The first one is a BB gun, and this is the Walther PPKS BB gun. It is a fully functional frame design. Metal, working hammer, working slide, and is really kind of neat. This is a CO2 powered BB gun and is on my list for kind of two purposes and two purposes only. First off, this gun looks real and can scare away a lot of people. Secondly, this gun can be used to scare away predators from your house because, again, in an apocalyptic or pandemic situation, predators and animals are going to be something that you're going to have to worry about. This can scare away raccoons, squirrels, dogs, anything like that, and it's not going to kill them. But of course, if you got hit by this, it would sting a little bit, mostly like a bee sting. It could cause some severe damage to the eyes, ears, mouth. So, something that you wouldn't want to be shooting at someone because you're just going to you're going to agitate them more than you're going to hurt them. This is pretty inexpensive. This one here cost about $89.99. I've seen them upwards of about $120, and of course there's other brands and models. But the CO2 is going to be on the list only because it's lightweight, it's concealable, and it's something that most states don't require a permit to purchase or anything like that, or any kind of registration. You can pick these up at most big box stores. And really from that standpoint, that's why it's on the list. Of course, the downsides of this gun are that it's not a real firearm and it doesn't have a lot of practical uses, but it's something that any prepper can purchase, toss it in a backpack out of the way, not really have to worry about. Now, if you have kids in your house, you're going to want to lock it up, of course. But like I said, the fully metal frame, the functionality of it, it looks real. And again, that's why it's the last on our list. Now the next gun on our list, again, is not a firearm, but this is rather a pellet rifle. And this is, of course, a break barrel design. Scoped and set to about 45 yards. This is perfect for hunting small game such as rabbits, squirrels, raccoons. This is the Craftsman version, and it is the tactical design, and it is on our list because of a couple different reasons. First, it's cheap. It's about $145, and you don't need a permit in most states to purchase this. Plus sides to this is it's quiet, it works great, and there's very little moving parts. You can take this and a small canister of pellets, throw them in your backpack, and you get over 1,000 rounds, typically about 1,500 rounds. So this gun is perfect. There's storage in the stock of it, and like I said, almost anyone would be able to use this gun. Downside of this, again, there's not a lot of knockdown power. It also isn't going to be something that you can use to hunt mid-sized game or large game, and it's not going to be something you're going to want to use for self-defense. It might look real and it might scare someone away from more than a couple feet, but other than that, that's going to be about what you get out of it. And again, it's on the list because it's a resource gun, not a self-defense gun. Alright, the third gun on our list is the first actual firearm, and this is the Jimenez Model 59 9mm pistol. Now, this particular company does not exist anymore. It went through some renaming and restructuring and does exist under another name, and I have to tell you, it's not a nice pistol to own. This is a very old pistol and wasn't going to be included on this list. However, after speaking to the owner of my local gun shop, he felt like it had to be on there because of price alone. This is probably the cheapest pistol anyone's going to be able to get into. The used models sell for about $75, $80, whereas the new models sell for about $90 to $110. I really wouldn't suggest spending over the $100 market on these. The reason being these are very inaccurate, very problematic pistols. They have fixed welded in sights and they jam constantly. Most of the time failure to feed, and I personally believe that is a problem with the magazine, but not for us to get into now. The 9mm round though is something that in a pandemic or apocalyptic environment will be easy to find. However, with the jamming problems with this, it's going to be something that I personally wouldn't want to own. The only reason this gun is on our list is for those people who are limited by finances. If you are stuck only spending less than $100 on a pistol, this is probably what you're going to be stuck with. There are high points out there. However, when I speak to people about Jimenez versus high point, it's kind of a mixed field. The high points are out there and at that price range. These are going to be cheaper, and in my experience are a lot more available than high points. People typically pick up a lot of high points just because of the price, whereas these sit around because they are so cheap and they're so plentiful. So again, something to kind of consider. The upside of this, it shoots the 9mm round. The newer ones can also be chambered in .380, so 2 good self-defense rounds. So knockdown power is there. It holds a traditional 7 rounds. However, I've never had any good experience loading the magazine with more than 5 rounds. So, something that if you did get one, you'd want to really take out and try. Like I said before, these are pretty inaccurate because they have the welded sights. So they're not adjustable and you cannot replace them without sanding them off. And of course, there's no locking slide on this. So if you are in a kind of combat or self-defense scenario and you are firing, it can be difficult for someone who doesn't know how to count their rounds to know when the gun's empty and you need to replace the magazine. Another problem with these are the magazine release is actually on the bottom grip of the handle, and they are extremely hard to get out, so you do have to oil them to the point where they're almost dripping to keep it where the magazine will not actually jam up inside. So if you're storing this firearm, definitely do not store it with the magazine in it because you will have a problem getting it out after a week or two. Alright, our second firearm, and 4th or 5th on the list here, is the New England single-shot 12-gauge bird gun. Now, I picked this gun not particularly for the brand, but because single-shot shotguns used to be some of the easiest firearms to find. They'd sell these at Walmart, Kmart, Myers, just about anywhere where you could find firearms. And they're very cheap. The single-shot models sell for about $80 to $125. Just for the basic models. Of course, you can get some advanced ones for several hundred, but really, I don't see the purpose in buying these. But you can also get them chambered in 12 gauge, 16 gauge, 20 gauge, 410, pretty much anywhere out there. And like I said, they are very easy to find. The New England model, however, is no longer manufactured, so most of these guns are going to be found on the used market, and of course that brings down the price a little bit more. Some upsides to this are with the single barrel design, you can fit in a 2.5-inch shell or 3.5-inch shell with no problem, unlike some pump or semi-automatic shotguns. The downside with this, there's a huge amount of kick. There's a solid butt plate on this, and there is no recoil reduction system built in at all. This is simply you pick up, cock the hammer, and you fire it. You will knock someone that's small down or someone who's not experienced to the kick. I would suggest, of course, you take this out and you would try it out before you planned on using it for any kind of self-defense. And of course, it is the single shot model, so it will slow down some shooters. Of course, there's kind of an upside and downside to that. Downside being that it does take time to reload and it does slow you down. But at the same time, this gun can be given to someone who might have a little bit of experience with the firearms in a pandemic or an apocalyptic type situation for hunting or self-defense. And the practice of dropping or breaking the barrel, taking out the cartridge, putting a new one in and loading it back up will actually slow them down so they're not wasting ammo. Something that soldiers see a lot of times out in the field with people who are not experienced are rapid fire and a lot of wasted ammo. This slows people down and will help quite a bit. Now, like I said before, you can get these in a variety of different models and designs. This here is the double barrel design. Again, you're going to find these on your used market mostly, but that extra round in the chamber does help with some of the safety aspects or for hunting aspects. And this gun can really be used for just about anything because of the ability to carry that 12 gauge shell. You can hunt small game to some of the largest game in North America. And of course, for self-defense. Alright, the next gun that's on our list is not an AR weapon. This is the Mossberg 715T or Tactical 22 LR rifle. This is simply a clinkster with a plastic injection molding, not carbon, design on it. This is a very cheap feeling firearm. However, it is not cheap. Just because of the functional butt plate and the trigger and magazine, this gun is unbelievably expensive compared to other 22s. The average 22, I've seen them for about $149. This cost me about $325 just because of the plastic molding on here. Even the sights are plastic. But this gun is on our list for just cause. It is fairly quiet, as the 22 is, and it does have the quad rail on it, so you can put all your attachments on it like a regular AR type platform weapon you might already own. And then of course it does have the 30 round capacity. It is, however, kind of difficult to use. The magazine is very hard to remove, and in some states and even cities, this extended magazine, they call it, which is the traditional magazine for it, are against the law. You do have to have the small 10 round Magpul type that inject up inside the receiver, and they're kind of ugly. You really can't see them when they're up in there, so it looks like the gun's not loaded. But you just need to make sure that you're legally using or owning the firearm where you live. Other than that, this gun can fire out to about 45 yards fairly accurately. I would say 40 would be kind of more ideal, and that's going to get you about a grouping into a 2 or 3 inch circle. This gun, of course, can be used to hunt small or even mid-sized game. And then can be used for self-defense. I have seen quite a number of videos discussing the velocity and the takedown power of the 22 LR. And it's kind of funny to see on the crime TV shows that are all over television right now. It seems like the majority of people are killed with the 22 or the 22 LR round. So I really think that gives just cause to carry a 22. I wouldn't do it as a primary kind of self-defense round, but it can kill, so I think that justifies having this. Again, this gun's going to look scary, and hopefully it'll scare away anyone that's trying to hurt you. With the 30 round capacity, you can simply clip this onto your vest, walk around. It's extremely lightweight. You could give this to a kid that has some kind of gun experience, and they shouldn't really have too much of a problem with it. Because it's the 22, it's not too loud, so you're not going to be giving away your position, to someone that's a couple miles away. But again, with the butt plate on here, you can put it down real small if you're going into a building, or out further to get a little bit more practical aiming. Overall, though, kind of a good gun to own. Like I said, not a lot of takedown power and kind of difficult to use. You really gotta kind of get it working. I don't know, maybe it's because I don't use mine a lot, but like I said, it's on our list for just cause. Alright, you can't have a list of the top firearms for Doomsday without including the 9130 Mosin Nagant. This fires the 7.62 by 54R or rimmed round, which is big enough to take down any large game in North America, or if not the world. This firearm was specifically designed and used during World War I and the beginning of World War II, so it is designed for killing. It has a 5-round capacity magazine that's built in and is bolt-action design. It has a metal-rimmed butt plate designed for smashing, and for about $149, this firearm does come with a standard issue bayonet and oil can. Integrated metal sights for accurate aiming. This gun is, all in all, a very nice gun to use and very cheap. The ammunition can be difficult to find unless you buy military surplus, which you can get about 500 rounds for about $150. So cheap to shoot, but after you do fire that ammo, you will want to make sure you clean this up very nicely. Now, there also has been some debate over if the 7.62 by 54R round is large enough to take out body armor. And I have seen some videos on YouTube where it has taken out some of the lower quality brands. Of course, nothing like police or military, so I'm not suggesting anyone tries, but you know, and with the amount of body armor that's selling on eBay or other websites, this gun might be nice to have. You know, I've seen videos too where people have taken out targets at over a mile with this, so kind of a nice gun to have, very inexpensive, easy to maintain, and of course, because it is military surplus, it is designed to withstand the elements. So of course, you know, a gun that you're going to want to look into. These can also be found at most local gun stores. I picked this one up at Dunham's for about $120. It was on sale, and of course it came with all the goods that you might normally find. The more modern ammunition for it does cost about $1.25 a round, so pretty expensive. So you know, that bulk military or surplus rounds might be the way to go with this. Like I said though, it is extremely corrosive, so make sure you clean out the barrel on that. Getting into even some more power is the Savage Arms Stevens 320 security shotgun. This here is a fine gun to own and does carry a substantial amount of knockdown firepower. Designed with a shorter barrel, it is designed to get inside homes for maneuvering around. And when I purchased this, the gun dealer specifically asked, you know, are you purchasing this for self-defense? Because this is by far the biggest self-defense firearm, probably in most big box stores or at most firearm dealers. It is a 12 gauge, and I do not believe that they sell this model in any other chambered caliber, so might be wrong on that, so you might want to do some research, but with the hand grip on it, it is easy to get around, move. It's kind of lightweight. It's got the large handle for pumping, and like I said, is a hell of a gun. I've seen videos where these guns have shot down door handles to get into homes, shot door hinges to knock down the door, shot through walls. I mean, this is a gun that you should have. The downside to this, though, of course, is it being the 12 gauge, it does have a little bit more of a kick, but it does have the integrated recoil reduction and the butt plate, so not too bad. It is very loud, of course, and then it is kind of difficult to clean, so when it comes to cleaning your firearm, that might be something you'll want to consider. All in all, though, you know, it's a nice gun, easy to use. You can take this down, throw it in a backpack, carry it around, get to where you need. There's 3 parts, you slap it back together, and you're ready to go. The only downside to this, though, is it is limited on what kind of rounds can fit in it. I do not believe anything over 2 3/4 inch shells can fit into this, which kind of is difficult because when I was out at the range loading it up, I of course put a 3-inch shell in there and it jammed, and I had to take it apart in the field and kind of get it apart, and that I didn't like. But all in all, I learned from that mistake and won't do it again. So like I said, this gun cost about $250. Not real expensive, and is something that, you know, people hear that noise and they're going to take off running. All in all, though, it's fully metal design, very few moving parts. It's got the security bead. You could throw some sights on there. There isn't a back post sight on it, but really, if you're shooting buckshot or anything like that, you don't need it because you're going to hit what you aim at. I already mentioned this, though. It does have very tight grouping, so you can hit targets at, you know, pretty far ranges with this. Alright guys, we are in the top 3, or the last 3 firearms that we will be discussing for this list. The next 2 are pistols, and then the last one is a rifle. And third on our list is the Kel-Tec PF9. This small pistol they are selling insanely fast. With the 7-round magazine, these are perfect for concealed carry. and is the concealed carry gun that I use daily. These are easy to hide inside the waistband, which is what this holster is designed for. And because it is the 9mm, it does carry some substantial knockdown power, especially with some of the self-defense rounds on the market. It does have the Picatinny rail in the bottom, so you can mount a laser onto this very easily, or a flashlight or anything like that. And all in all, it's a good gun to have. There are some downsides to it, however. First and foremost, with the 7-round magazine, you can blow through that ammo very quickly. And it does only come with one magazine, so you'd want to pick up a spare one while you're at the gun store. Other than that, the gun is a little small. For me, my pinky does hang off it, so when firing, it does want to kind of whiplash back up. So it does take a little bit of adjustment to it, but any small pocket-sized pistol is going to require some of that adjustments at the range. Overall, though, it's a very nice firearm. Comes in a couple different colors and is going to be an ideal gun for self-defense in any kind of pandemic or apocalyptic type of situation. Right, from there we go to the Ruger PF9. This is not a 9mm pistol, but is rather a 40 S&W. This is a full-size pistol and has the locking slide on it. It is perfect for self-defense. It's perfect for any kind of apocalyptic or pandemic type environment that you would need it in. It has a 10-round magazine. It does come with 2 and is very easy to fire. Being that it is a full-size weapon, it is easy to carry and is kind of intimidating to see. They do not, however, make this firearm anymore, but you can find it on the used market. This one I picked up for about $450. Most of them are going to float around that $375 to $450 price range. This one does have a new integrated grip on it, so it is a little bit more, but these guns are built full metal, adjustable sight, and has the locking hammer, ambidextrous, and of course the decocker on it. These guns, well worth every dime you're going to spend. And you know, a lot of people say, well, why isn't there a Glock on your list? I think that this gun outfires the Glock 100-fold. The only thing that Glock has over it is it's not a higher round capacity magazine. I have seen the 29-round magazines and they do stick out quite a bit, and you can get that for this, but really that 40 S&W round, if you hit what you're aiming for, it's going to take it down. Alright guys, this here is the last weapon on our list, and that is the Bushmaster Carbine 15 ORC, or Optics Ready Carbine. This here is by far, I believe, the best AR-15 rifle on the market. There are 2 models to this. The first one does not have the dust cover or the forward assist, and that's kind of unofficially been referred to as Gen 1. There has been some problems with that. This one cost about $200 more than that one, to about $400 more depending on where you get it. And this one's been referred to unofficially as the Gen 2 model. This is a very nice gun. The only downside, it doesn't come with any sight. Very straightforward design. This holographic sight I picked up for about $200 and is very nice. It's got the 30-round standard issue magazine. The charging handle, again, pretty standard. And then the release valve. All in all, this fires the .223 and the 5.56 NATO round. You're going to get anywhere about 300 yards out of that, very accurately. Mine's sighted in for about 200 yards right now, so I can easily switch from 100 yards to 300 yards. And this is a very fun gun to shoot. Magazines for this are very cheap because it's on the AR platform. Everything's kind of standardized with it. You can replace anything on it you see. All in all, a very nice firearm. It's got the flash suppressor. This here, I took the quad rail off to show it as the standard design, but I do have the quad rail for it with the green laser and the lower handguard with the bipod design on it. But I wanted to show kind of what you're going to get out of the box. You purchase the gun, throw the sight on it, and about 20 minutes out of the range you got this thing sighted in, and it's absolutely fun to shoot. And you'll find that with this gun you're going to be out at the range shooting it because it's so fun, and you're going to get it sighted in and you're going to get familiar with your firearm. Of course, being that it is an AR, there are some states that kind of really are anti-AR design. And even with that said, you know, this gun, you can pick these up just about anywhere anymore. Walmart, again, is selling ARs. I don't know if they sell the Bushmaster, but to me, for the price, they all carry the same kind of platform. They're all designed very much the same, but Bushmaster seems to make quality and price. I've shot about 2,000 rounds through this. I've never had it jam up. I've handed it to other people. They've shot it that have never fired an AR or a firearm at all. They love it. And I've given this to people that fire much more expensive ARs, and of course they love it. I do own a couple other more expensive ARs, but like I said, by far this is my favorite, and this here is going to be the best gun for an apocalyptic type scenario. In an apocalyptic or pandemic kind of situation, I'm going to want a variety of firearms because I have a family that would be with me. That is why I've hosted these guns. Now, I would suggest someone wanting to get into this, go out to their local Walmart or big brick mortar type store and purchase a 8 to 10 gun safe. Throw it in their closet and slowly pick up these firearms throughout a course of a year or so. Throw them in there, and if something happens, you just flip it open in your closet and pull it out, and you've got your stash of weapons sitting right there.